with Lee Griffith, speaking about the issues that he's having and taking time out of the game. Do we do enough for people in the game who suffer?
I think there's far more platforms in place now. Sometimes it builds and builds and builds in an individual, and then they sort of tip over the edge, and this needs support. You know, at the end of the day, he's a human being. We all have issues, and unfortunately for Lee, his is sort of played out in the public eye, and we all want him to make a speedy recovery. I don't know what the issue is, and I don't know what the problems he's having, but he'll come through it, you know, with the support, and he needs to obviously talk about it and deal with it as quickly as possible.
Do you think by speaking about it does help?
Yes, no, there's no question of that. I mean, that's part of the recovery, you know, talking about it and getting professional help, and just, you know, looking after your own sort of well-being physically, because it does affect you physically as well as obviously mentally. So from everyone here at Hibs, we wish him a speedy recovery, and anyone else who's going through it in the footballing world. It's such a common illness now that affects so many people in so many different ways.
Football can be a game of huge highs and lows, and sometimes results, what you're doing as a manager and what your players do can have the impact on the pitch. I just wonder if the football authorities can actually do more to help people, you know, when there are such extremes of such highs and lows in the sport that everybody loves.
It's very difficult for the authorities to, you know what individuals are going through. You know, there are structures at most clubs now and the PFA have launched a, you know, mental health awareness initiative as well, because we lost a young player not so long ago. So I think it's far more prevalent now among football as a sport, and not just football, you know, a lot of other sports as well. It can affect many people, but I know of, you know, high class athletes and boxers, and particularly people in individual sports, but, you know, in team sports as well, every individual has their own makeup, and some are prone to, you know, maybe going through a depressive period for whatever reason, and it can accumulate. And sometimes it can be, what you do is you lose control. You lose control of your emotions, and you lose control of your mind at a certain point. Not being like sort of psychotic or anything like that, but the mind plays tricks on you, and it makes you think very, very differently from what you would when you're feeling normal. So in terms of what the authorities do, I think, you know, there are many, many platforms. It's just fronting up and going and get the help as quickly as you possibly can.
I know you signed Lee for Celtic, Neil. What type of character is he away from the character that we see in the public? He's
quiet, you know, he's a quiet boy. A little bit different, you know, which is fine. I never had a problem with him. He can be a little bit, sometimes you get the bigger characters can be a little bit over emotional at times, and then there's a disparity, you know, the over emotion, and then when you fall below what your normal capacity of your well-being can be.
Would you like to think that the way that it's not such a hidden thing anymore, that people speak out about it, that he will one day recapture his best form for Celtic?
Oh, no question.
For Scotland?
No question, he'll get better. You know, this is just a difficult period for him, you know, and it's obviously been an accumulation of things that's built up and built up and built up, and he now needs, you know, a few weeks. In a few weeks' time, he'll be on the mend. There's no question of that, if he does the right things. But it's a difficult period for him, and, you know, he may need a bit of privacy, but he need a lot of support as well, particularly from his family.
Would you want to speak to him? Would you offer him?
No problem. No problem. I've done that with many players and many people in different walks of life as well. So, you know, I've been sort of very public about it over the years, and I've no problem with that at all. I think it's important, and it's become, I think it's probably been there from the year Dot Brown, you know, but, you know, people maybe in the 70s and 80s and 90s weren't keen to talk about it, or didn't know what was happening to them, and now we're more aware of it. It can be remedied quicker rather than suffering in silence.
The fact that it is now nobody's got, you know, Celtic are seeking help from, is that the kind of key thing that if you bottle it up inside, it's going to, you need this point where everybody knows maybe just to help?
Yeah, because sometimes you can feel a little bit sort of desperate, and it may be his first episode of it, hopefully his last, and maybe he didn't know what was going on inside his own body and his mind, and that can be, you know, a scary prospect sometimes. But now that it's out, you know, in the open, and Celtic are doing all they can to help him. There's a great banner at the game last night in support of him as well. So he just needs time. I think you'll see him. You may not see him between now and the end of December, but hopefully by the time the season restarts again, he'll be back to his normal self. Hopefully.
How are you feeling about your team's chances for Sunday?
Well, we're a little bit better in terms of numbers, but and it's a formidable task. You know, I went to the game last night, really enjoyed it. You know, Celtic have done great to qualify, and that'll give them a huge boost. But they're up against an excellent side last night. It's fascinating watching the game, really good. So we know how difficult the prospect of playing them on Sunday is, but we had a great win last week, and much needed win, and now we're really looking forward to playing Celtic and obviously Rangers off the back of that.
How big is that one at Hamilton in terms of confidence and psychologically coming into, you know, arguably the most attractive game of the season?
Yeah, a win's a win, because we weren't playing as well as we could have, and then second half we started seeing real shoots of, you know, coming back to a bit of form. So I think it's given everyone a lift, and hopefully now we can get back to the style of football and the intensity of performance that we know we're capable of.
Have you noticed a difference in attitude about the place from certain players? Because Gary was quite public in calling out individuals, as I'm sure you're aware.
It may be down to confidence more than application, you know, but some of them were definitely off the boil. Certainly they're brighter this week, and that all comes with, you know, the win and feeling good about themselves again.
How's Martin Boyle?
We don't know yet. We're taking him day to day. He was in early in the week feeling good, and then he felt nauseous on Wednesday. So he's a big doubt. You know, but hopefully,
Big player for you, isn't he?
yeah, if he doesn't play Sunday, he'll be hopefully fit for Wednesday night.
Your other doubts, Neil?
Hanlon, Gray, Bartley, Milligan, Bogdan, Mavrius. So there's about 7 or 8 now.
These are all first. Some of the majority of these boys are starters.
Well, yeah, and experienced players as well, which is what you need against a team like Celtic. So it just compounds the difficulty of the game on Sunday. But we're not going into it negatively. We're going into, we scored 2 goals at Celtic Park. I don't think many other teams score many goals against them. So we know we're capable of scoring, but we know that they're capable of scoring as well, and in bunches as well. And their mentality is very, very good, you know. So I know they picked up maybe a couple of injuries last night, but they'll still be very strong, obviously, for the game. Emerson's okay, yeah. He had a 45 last week, and he's trained all week, so he's fine.
Gary was talking about how much of a difference he made.
He did, yeah. It was just the flow to the way we played, and we've missed that a little bit, a creative spark, and just that little bit of confidence on the ball. And he was prepared to, you know, take the ball in tight areas and be brave on it. So we were delighted with his contribution last week, and he's trained well this week.
The way the games have gone against Celtic and yourselves recently, do you almost expect it to be quite an exciting game with lots of passion when you go into them?
I hope so. That's what you want, you know, and I think we're one of the teams that like to have a go at Celtic, and with the players I've got, I don't think that's going to change for Sunday, but you know, you can't be too gung-ho. The Celtic were excellent against us at Celtic Park in the first half, and you know, it could have been more than 2-0 at half time, so we have to be very mindful of that, but we know we're capable of, you know, causing problems at the other end.
How are you recruitment wise, Neil, for January? Gary was saying, what new players coming in?
Well, we will be looking to add to the squad. It's very threadbare at the minute, and yeah, we need some quality in as well. in forward areas and maybe in midfield as well.